You're grading papers at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night, 8 years in. Your salary is $52,000 a year. You have $340,000 saved. Most teachers in your position would laugh at that number, call it a down payment on a house you'll never own. But what if I told you that exact number is the threshold? What if $340,000 at 37 years old is actually the line between staying in that classroom for another 25 years or walking out on Friday afternoon and never coming back? Not early retirement theory, not some influencer's fantasy. An actual mechanism that's already worked for dozens of teachers that nobody's ever written about. His name was David. He wasn't exceptional. He taught high school history in Ohio. Salary peaked at $58,000. He had 2 kids, no trust fund, no rich spouse, no real estate side hustle. But at 34, David had accumulated $285,000 in a combination of his 403B and a taxable brokerage account. He did this on teacher pay between 2007 and 2011. He wasn't investing in cryptocurrency or penny stocks. He was doing something so simple that everyone in the teacher's lounge knew about it, and yet almost nobody actually did it. He was saving 60% of his gross income. Not 15%, not 20%, 60%. While working, while raising kids, while living in the same town where he taught. Here's where most people stop listening. They think the math is impossible. They think he got lucky, inheritance, rich spouse, something. But luck has nothing to do with it. It's a stack of decisions that compound in a specific order, and once you see the stack, you can't unsee it. If this is your first time here, subscribe. I put out videos because no one teaches teachers about money. The first lever is the most boring, which is exactly why nobody uses it. Teachers have something most workers don't: stable, predictable income combined with a defined contribution plan. Your 403B is not a 401k. That matters. The 403B has a catch-up provision that lets you contribute $24,500 in 2026, same as a 401k. But there's a clause almost nobody uses. If you've worked for the same employer for 15 consecutive years, you can contribute an additional $3,000 per year. That's not leverage yet, but wait. While you're maxing your 403B, you're also a W-2 employee, not a 1099 contractor. That means you can contribute to a Roth IRA. $7,500 a year, after tax, growing forever tax-free. Your principal doesn't need to know about it. Your 403B provider doesn't care. You open a Roth IRA at Vanguard or Fidelity on your own. The IRS allows it. Most teachers have never heard of it because nobody in the teacher's lounge talks about tax strategy. David did. He opened a Roth at 26. By 37, his contributions had tripled. The second lever is the one that actually breaks the whole model. It's called the Roth conversion ladder, and it's the hidden staircase out of the classroom. Here's how David actually did it. Say you've maxed your 403B for 9 years. You've got $210,000 in there. You've also been dumping whatever's left after expenses into a taxable brokerage account, another $80,000. You're 37, you quit. You have no W-2 income for the first time since you were 22. That year, your taxable income is $0. That's the moment. In that zero income year, you execute a Roth conversion. You take $50,000 directly from your 403B and convert it to a Roth IRA. You'll owe taxes on that conversion, call it $10,000 in taxes. But you paid those taxes in a year when you had no other income. Your tax bracket is essentially empty. It's legal. The IRS designed it this way intentionally. You just did something almost no teacher ever does. You paid taxes in a low-income year instead of a high-income year. Now watch what happens next. That $50,000 sits in your Roth, growing forever. You can't touch it for 5 years without penalty. But that's fine, because you have your taxable brokerage account. You live off that for the first 5 years of retirement. $16,000 a year. Tight, but doable, especially without a mortgage or student loans if you played it right. After 5 years, the Roth conversions you did in that first zero-income year become accessible. You pull from there. You're now living on money that will never be taxed again. Meanwhile, the rest of your retirement accounts are still growing in the background. David had $285,000 at 34. He worked for 3 more years, living on $38,000 annually and saving aggressively into a taxable account. By 37, he had $365,000. He quit. Over the next 3 years, he converted $80,000 from his 403(b) into Roth accounts, paying an effective 12% tax rate across all of it because he had almost no other income. After those 3 years, his Roth pile had grown to $95,000. His taxable brokerage was down to $45,000. His traditional 403(b) was $180,000 and still growing. At 40, when Roth conversions became fully accessible, his withdrawal rate was sustainable. The trap embedded in this story isn't the strategy. The trap is why almost nobody does it. To execute this plan, you have to live on less than half of what you earn. While your colleagues are buying houses, you're renting. While they're upgrading cars, you're driving the same one you bought in 2009. While they're taking vacations, you're taking road trips that cost $200. For 9 years, maybe longer. You're watching them build lives that look normal, while yours looks like deprivation. It feels like punishment, except you chose it. Every day you're telling yourself the delayed gratification will pay off. You're betting on a future that's a decade away, while the present is happening right now. And here's the thing that breaks most people. It actually works, but not the way they think. David quit at 37. He wanted to travel. He had a vague idea about writing a book. What actually happened? Textbooks don't cover. He had freedom, but freedom has texture. It's not blank. When you remove the structure of teaching, the lesson planning, the grading, the staff meetings, you don't immediately discover your passion. You discover your habits. For the first 6 months, he had no idea what to do with his time. He'd wake up and think, I could do anything today. That's paralyzing when you're used to a bell schedule. He ended up spending 4 hours a day reading about history and writing long-form essays that nobody would ever read. He wasn't unhappy. He wasn't happy either. He was unmoored. But by year 3, he'd rebuilt structure on his terms. 2 days a week volunteering at a local nonprofit teaching adult literacy, freelance articles for education publications, consulting for curriculum companies, work he could turn down if he wanted. He made about $18,000 a year on these pursuits. That extended his runway by years. More importantly, it gave him a reason to leave the house. But here's what matters. He could afford to do none of it. That choice only existed because of the 9 years of deprivation. The deeper truth is that retiring at 37 on teacher pay isn't actually about money. It's about compressing deprivation. Choosing to be financially poor for 9 years so you can be experientially rich for the rest of your life. Most people choose the opposite, comfortable for 9 years, then obligated for the rest. David reversed it. And the result isn't happiness. The result is optionality. You don't find out what you actually want until you have the time to find out. Most teachers never get that experiment. The question isn't whether the math works. It works. Hundreds of teachers have already done this. The question, the one that's going to sit in your head after this video ends, is whether you can actually do it. Whether you can be the person in the teacher's lounge who drives the same car. Who doesn't go to Hawaii? Who says no to things your friends are saying yes to? Who explains it once and then stops explaining and just does it anyway while everyone watches?